Mad Panic Gaming. Let's go.
Hey everybody, Jim here. Welcome back for another video on Mad Panic Gaming. Today, while I was out on my travels running some errands, I popped into a nearby book off for a quick little game rummage and was surprised to find they actually had some pretty damn cool retro games. So I was able to squeeze in a quick little retro hunt today, which is always awesome. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, because that is what's coming up next. All right. Getting started in this book off. It was actually a book off Super Bazaar, which are usually loaded with games. We got a PS2 Slim, we got a Neo Geo Mini for only 6,300 yen, which is honestly kind of surprising. I usually see those going for more. 6,300 yen is only a little over 40 bucks these days, so that's cool. A retro game HDMI converter. I have no idea how well or poorly that would work. PS3 controllers, a whole mess of old DS consoles, and even a few of the Game Boy Advance SPs, which are always very cool. I myself was big on the DS back in the day, hiding out in the bathroom at work playing Mario Kart. I'm not too ashamed to say. Famicom cartridge that I don't know what the hell it is, and even some Castlevania for you, so there you go. A little Densha Go controller, again, not something I'd expect to find in this book off. Mother! Classic game. Lane Sweet Home back there, which is very cool. Zelda Assault Suit Vulcan, which I think is called Cybernator in North America, at least. So that's pretty cool. I've been to this book off a few times before, and they usually don't have like a ton of retro stuff. So today I was like really shocked, kind of pleasantly surprised. Hey, look at that handsome fella. We got some PS5s here. They're selling those for what, like 46,000 yen. So that's not too bad. It's like 300 bucks for a used PS5. Anyway, here we go. Retro game, in case you didn't know. That's kind of for retro game. They actually had a ton. They had loose cars. They had PS2. More than I was expecting to find. I pretty much just stuck with the box stuff today, though. Save us some time, so we don't have to be here all day. I did say it's a quickie, didn't I? Perpetual Blue on the Dreamcast, 1100. This is a game I've never played, but the packaging is pretty sweet. There are a lot of these games on the Dreamcast, though, that I like. The Japanese Dreamcast library is pretty big. It's much bigger than North America. Lots of stuff. I don't even know what it is. 20% off at 3,600 for this copy of Valkyrie. I think it's Valkyrie no Boken. Valkyrie's Adventure. So that's pretty cool. Most people know Valkyrie no Densetsu on the PC Engine. Maybe some of you are not aware. There's one on the Famicom. We got Xevious for 1,800. Xevious is an old favorite of mine. Usually if I'm in an old retro arcade, I'll sit down and play a game of Xevious. This, pretty cool find for 5,900. So that's in the neighborhood of 40 bucks. Well, not a complete copy. It's missing the manual, I think. But Ninja Ryukenden 2, aka Ninja Gaiden 2. Some cool box art there. I myself am more partial to the third game. But 2 is pretty cool. It introduced like some weather effects and things. Still pretty tough game, but a lot of fun. We got some N64 boxed, starting with Yoshi's Story, 900 yen. And that ain't bad. With exchange rate, I think that's about 5 bucks actually. And well, there you go, Jim. Butterfingers. You break it, you bought it. That's why we like to have jump cuts every now and again. 6,800 though for this copy of GoldenEye, and I will say this is like, the box was in fantastic condition. It's a complete copy. 6,800. That's in the neighborhood like 40 something bucks. That's actually not such a bad deal on that, even though I'm not as big of a GoldenEye fan as a lot of other people are. I didn't really grow up with N64, so I'm not like the fan of some of the titles on it that other people are. Here we have Estpolis 2, some RPG on the Super Famicom for 5,900. So if anybody knows anything about that one, you can tell me. Like, I don't have full mastery knowledge of the Super Famicom library, unfortunately. Fighter's History, though, for 4,800, and again, that's in pretty good condition. It's complete as well. I like Fighter's History. In particular, I've played quite a lot of Fighter's History Dynamite, which I had on the Neo Geo CD. Not a bad series of, well, 2D fighters. I say series, but it's really only the one. 7,700 on King of the Monsters 2. So that's like $50 for a complete copy of King of the Monsters 2. Which is pretty damn cool, because I occasionally come across the first game. Very rarely do I come across the second. But I was not coming in here anticipating spending like $50 a game, though. 5,900 for Sailor Moon S. The Sailor Moon fighting game, which is apparently quite popular. Or I say quite, I don't really know, but popular enough. In fighting game circles. We got Magical Taruru Tokun Magical Adventure, which is 200 yen off of an 1,800 yen price tag. There are only a handful of Magical Taruru Tokun games, but I think they're all platformers, and they're pretty good, though the one on the Mega Drive is my personal favorite so far. We have one of these Momotaro games, Super DX. I guess you're a little train conductor in there. Again, Momotaro, another one that I don't know a terribly lot about. Gundam F91, killer box art, but this is another one of those Gundam, more like strategy games, which I've never gotten into. I like myself a good old Gundam fighting game, or like a third-person shooting game, something like that. That was Breath of Fire there, and we've got Garo Densetsu Special, for 1,800, and the only thing that was really kind of wrong with it, the box, I don't know if it shows up so well on the camera, but the box was like a little dirty looking. So even though 1,800 is a decent deal on that, that's like, I don't know, $12. I did end up passing on that one today. 200 yen off from 5,700 for Tokimeki Memorial, Konami's sort of like flagship dating sim that they had at the time, although I only really like Puzzle Dama. 2,700 on Super Mario Bros. Collection, aka All Stars, which is great. I preferred All Stars back in the day over Mario World. Ultraman, 3,200 with 200 yen off. And even still, I passed because the Ultraman games typically suck. So that's another one that I passed on. No Ultraman for me today. Though a buddy of mine, he actually provides a voice for one of the Ultramen, I guess you could say. Final Fantasy V, 1,100 yen. It was 89.80 when somebody bought it brand new back in the day. That ain't chump change. But now it's like $7 if you want to pick that up. Unfortunately, I don't get a lot of requests for RPGs. I could be cleaning up if I sold nothing but RPGs. 20,000 yen for Knights of the Round. Now, Knights of the Round, amazing game. The arcade version is obviously better, but 20,000 yen, that's about $150 or so. And that ain't cheap. 3,200 on Super Bomberman 4. All of the Super Bomberman games are awesome. I think there are 5 of them. They're all great. They all play more or less the same. They're Bomberman games, but they each throw in like little different gimmicks and things. Different worlds and bosses and stuff. 4,100 for the original Gambare Goemon, which is actually a little bit more than I think I normally see it going for. So book off, what are you doing to me? And a copy of Mother 2, 4,500. It was in like immaculate condition, and it was complete. 4,500. That's about $30. And Mother 2, that's actually a pretty decent deal on it, because that's one that, to find it in that condition these days, it's going up in price a bit. We got Hoshino Kirby 64. Fantastic game. We got a copy of Quicks on the Game Boy, 1,500. I myself am a fan of Quicks, just good old school gameplay. Obviously, the arcade version is the one you're going to want to play. And we got hamsters. We officially have hamsters, ladies and gentlemen. Oddly enough, though, some of the kids I teach, they're crazy about these like hamster games. Mario Tennis, I'm sorry, hamster videos. Where people like set up obstacle courses for hamsters and then hamsters just run around through them. 3,600 for Rockman Exa, whatever it's called in Japanese. Maybe Battle Network or whatever. I never got into those particular Mega Man games. So you'll have to excuse me. That's another series where I know almost nothing about it. 900 on Beautiful Joe 2. That ain't bad. We got some Shadow the Hedgehog, which I've still never played. I kind of not the biggest Sonic fan from that era. 400 for some Rogue Squadron. That's awesome. And only 480 yen for SSX 3. 480 yen for almost any game these days is fine because that's like $3 American. Can't go wrong with that. We got Soccer something or other. I have no idea. Konohana True Report. Again, another later released Dreamcast game. By Success, though, so that's interesting. I like games by Success. Was that Canaria? Whatever the hell this is, no idea. Evolution? I know Evolution. Kind of like a little action RPG. And 200 off at 1,100 yen. This copy of Capcom vs. SNK. So 900 yen on this. That's pretty cheap. That's like, I don't know, $6. And you got yourself some Capcom vs. SNK. There's some damage to the disc, I suppose. But still, that's a damn fine deal. Don't come across those too often. 900 on Virtua Fighter 3 TB, which stands for Tournament Battle. 1800 on Sakura Wars 4. They had a bunch of copies of Sakura Wars 4. So I guess somebody came in here and just dumped. They're like, hey, I got all these copies of Sakura Wars 4. You want them? Sure, why not? 1800 on Shenmue 2. Classic game, although I played it like many people on the Xbox back in the day and really enjoyed it. I've still, to this day, I've never played Shenmue 3. The original Sakura Wars ported to the Dreamcast. 200 off of 1500, so that's 1300 yen, about $9. 900 on Part 3, there you go. Got some NFL 2K, some Power Smash, those are fun as well, and Tetris 4D at 480 yen. That's a good deal. And 1100 on this nifty copy of Biohazard Code Veronica. I like that. I like that game a lot. I just hate Steve. I hate irritating characters like that. The game is otherwise awesome, though. We have a handful of Saturn games here. Most of it stuff I'm not too particularly interested in. Cheap, mind you, 700 yen, 900 yen, 1100. Lunar, the Silver Star story for 1600 yen, though. That's awesome, and I think like you can even improve the look of the cutscenes with if you have a particular RAM card or something to that effect. Some Shining Force, and then here a solid deal on this, 720 yen for a copy of Vampire Hunter. That's like $5 for Vampire Hunter, so I set that to the side. That's a definite for me. We're still looking. We've got Gun Griffin at 900. Gun Griffin's okay, although I like the one on PS2 a bit more. Gun Griffin Blaze. So there you go. And we have one lone Mega Drive game, Puyo Puyo 2, for 1500 yen, but there's a couple hundred yen off because the case itself, or at least the insert in the case, was just a wee bit ratty. So there you go. I found some cool stuff just there on that shelf. And as you can see, lots of loose games to go through here, and there's a bunch of PS2 and everything. Like I said, I wanted this to be a quickie, so we're going to jump right to my finds of the day. Starting with, yes, of course, 720 on a Vampire Hunter. That's a good deal, so I scooped that up. Lickety split. And 200 off, so 900 yen on this copy of Capcom vs. SNK. Again, that's a very good deal on that, so I grabbed that. That's like a $5-6 game. 720, this copy of Dragon Quest III came in a very cool, like, cassette case. And it had the manual with it as well, which I thought was nice. So at 720, that's, again, that's like less than $5. So that was a grab. 900 on Fate Unlimited Codes I found on the PS2. Excellent fighting game. Published by Capcom, developed by Type Moon. Again, that's very cheap on that. It's a great fighter if you've never played it. And shocking, 270 yen on Guilty Gear X Accent Core. This is like $2, maybe even a little under $2 for that. So that was just an absolute steal. So those are my finds of the day. I actually picked up a big bag full of things. I picked about 20 games. I think I spent about 50 bucks American. So not a bad little trip for something that was kind of spur of the moment. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this little retro game hunt. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.